Step Talks Education. You're highly welcome. Let us continue with our ordinary level chemistry. And today, or right now, we are going to look at electrochemistry. Or I can call it electrical energy in chemical reactions. So we have been discussing a lot of chemical reactions, and in most cases we have been looking at just reactants undergoing chemical reactions and then forming what we call products. And the reactants and products of which are just chemical substances, either elements or compounds. But we have not been so much looking at other things that accompanies the formation of products in a chemical reaction. Sometimes you find that in a chemical reaction, the whole of the reaction mixture becomes cold. That one signifies that some energy is being absorbed from the surrounding, and that is heat energy. Sometimes you find that the reaction mixture becomes very hot when they are reacting as they form products. That means heat is evolved or heat is generated as a result of the chemical reaction. So heat can be either gained in a chemical reaction or heat can be lost in a chemical reaction. Sometimes we can hear some sound. That means, like last time we talked of a decapitating or a crackling sound. So sound energy can also be recognized in a chemical reaction. Sometimes we see what we call kinetic energy, whereby there can be some movement or motion of some particles. Like in this case, if you drop a piece of sodium in cold water, it melts into a silvery ball and starts darting on the water surface. That is kinetic energy, which is generated as a result of the chemical reaction. And sometimes we have got electrical energy. Electrical energy or electricity that can be also generated as a result of the chemical reaction. So we need to know that in every chemical reaction, the energy which is stored in the substances that are reacting can be lost, or sometimes there is gain of energy as a result of the reaction. So the gain of energy or the loss of energy, or the energy gained or lost, can be in form of heat, as we saw, can be in form of sound, can be in form of kinetic energy, whereby there is movement of particles. It can be even in form of electrical energy. Now, out of all these, the one which is very common is the heat energy. It's very, very common. So we shall have a look at this. In this case, when we come to heat energies in chemical reactions, or what we call energy changes in chemical reactions, where we shall be dealing with mainly the heat energy. So in this session, we are going to look at what we call electrical energy in chemical reactions. So that's what we are going to deal with here. That's why in this case we are calling this topic here electrochemistry, which is all about electrical energy in chemical reactions. So we have some chemical reactions that takes place. Let me put it here. Some chemical reactions occur with the generation of electrical energy, or what we call electric energy. Now, this electrical energy, I want us not to in any way try to meddle up, or we try to rather mess it up with certain processes where we have the release of stored energy, which is only transformed into into electrical energy. Like if you look at dry cells, you look at accumulators, those ones have what we call chemical energies, which are simply transformed using certain devices. They are simply transformed from chemical energy to electrical energy. But in this case, we are having what we call a chemical reaction which occurs, and then electrical energy is produced. So basically, I want us to know this, that if this one is a conductor of electrical energy or conductor of electricity, what happens is that when electrons are flowing through the conductor in a specific direction, like in this direction as you can see, then the effect or the consequence of the flow of the electrons is the electrical energy, which is made also to flow but in the opposite direction. So electricity flows in a conductor when electrons are flowing in an opposite direction to the direction of flow of electrons as a consequence of the flow of electrons. So electrons will be flowing in a given direction, then electrical energy will also be made to flow in effect but in the opposite direction. That means the source of this electrical energy or this electricity is the electrons, which must be generated from the chemical reaction itself. So if a chemical reaction occurs and then some electrons are released, then those electrons will flow in a conductor, and in consequence or in effect, electrical energy will also flow. So that is the very electrical energy we are talking of here. Electrical energy in chemical reactions. So we are going to see some chemical reactions which takes place and lead to the flow or the release of electrons, which then flow, and in effect current also flows. So some chemical reactions occurs with the generation of electrical energy. So in short or in brief, these reactions are made to occur in the electrochemical cell. There is what we call an electrochemical cell in which such reactions occur, and it leads to the release of electrons, and the flow of electrons, which causes current also to flow in consequence or in effect. So let us see what we call the electrochemical cell. Sometimes we call it the voltaic cell. So let me try to draw a simple electrochemical cell and we see what it looks like. I'm trying to put the meniscus of this solution here. So this is an aqueous solution, and let me use these dashes here to show that it is a solution. And that's what we always do. We don't use dots, but just short dashes in this case. So I want to use this one here. This one is our copper rod, and this one is a zinc rod, and this one here is a 2 molar sulfuric acid. And here we can put something here, bearing in mind that this one here is a connecting wire, which is made up of a metal copper, and then we can here have an ammeter or possibly a voltmeter. So this one will show us whether some electrical energy has been generated or not. So this is our whole electrochemical cell. As we can see, we have got a zinc rod and a copper rod. So these two rods have been connected here using a connecting wire, and in the connecting wire we have included a voltmeter. A voltmeter. And then the two rods are dipped in the 2 molar sulfuric acid. In this case, this is our electrolyte we are using. So what you are seeing here is what we call an electrochemical cell. So in our next session, we are going to look at how this one here operates, or how it functions. So we are going to see how it functions and some of the reactions involved that leads to the production of electrical energy. So Tech Talks Education, thank you for watching.